Good morning, everybody. American Granny back here again. Um, I'm getting ready to turn on my sprinkler and water my maple trees and my rose bushes. I got my coffee. Yay. Finally got it made the right way. I don't believe I did that. But then again, I woke up and I'm trying to get back into my old habits of recording the things I do, not just telling you about them. So you can actually see how easy the process is, and that's why I do it. Now, this morning, our yard has taken a beating because I have not been watering. And I mean, literally, you can see a lot of where the grass is burned from the heat that has come through this summer. But we're thankfully through that. But you can see all the brown spots out here. And my rose bushes are looking so weak. And my poor little maple tree over there. My other maple tree is doing real good. I don't know if you can see it. It's over there by the passionberry. Now I grow the passionberry for our deer because we have a lot of deer that comes through here. And I put out bird seed, and I put out some squirrel feed, and there's my other. I've got two more, but two of them are really struggling, and two are doing really good of my maple trees. So I'm hoping. And out of the three peach trees that I had growing, I only have two left. The other two succumbed to we get a fungus on some of our fruit trees, and I'm just learning how to deal with it. I've started adding broken eggshells and coffee or tea to the bases, and it worked, believe it or not. It worked for killing off the fungus, and that's why my two peach trees are still growing. My blackberry bush, everything is looking really peaked because I didn't do a lot of watering this year. So here in a little bit, I gotta go turn the sprinkler on and get it going. And I gotta remember always how to hold this thing, because I don't have a fancy setup. I just have my my phone, or I use my Chromebook from time to time. But I gotta get back here and give you a little better. See, this is where all of the nests I pulled out yesterday, I had to wash them off and break them down so that the wasps don't get back in them. I'm out here barefoot, and I actually do walk around barefoot quite a bit. So I got to turn that one off. I think. No, this should be off. There we go. Turn the right one on. See, I don't know if you can see it. And on it goes. I asked my husband, we got to get a pump for this so that when our well has no electricity, I still have water. Okay, here's a better shot of my shed. And there's a big old fish tank I got to get rid of. You can see I got a ton of stuff in there I've got to get pulled out, cleaned off. Our 4 chairs, we like to sit up here on the back porch. I'll put those chairs up there in a little while. But I like to put them up there and meow, 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 meow. You want to say hello, Flower? This is Flower. Yeah, she's a pretty girl. She's what you would call, I guess, a farm cat. She was a stray my parents took in. She come wandering up here and became part of the family, I guess. My potatoes still hasn't sprouted. Now, I don't know about y'all, but since I don't have a lot of money and I don't have a lot of excess soil, out here, my parents probably put 20, maybe 30 truckloads of soil. And, oh, hold on a second. Looks like my hubby is telling me he's on his way home. Yay, shower time. Okay, my baby is headed home. Okay, love. See you soon. Mwah. Okay. Now, it used to bug my mother because my husband and I talk throughout his work shifts, usually, when he's working days. And right now he's working nights. So I got the sprinkler going, and I've got about 10 minutes before my husband gets home and I can get in the shower. Okay, I had to make sure that my sprinkler was not actually getting my stuff up here on the porch. But my plants have been suffering, and right now my onions should be like in full growth, but they're not. I've got a bunch of dried ones, thankfully, but I didn't tend to my garden this year like I did last year. I had so many heart issues that it just was not plausible. I'm trying to get my husband to build me a raised garden bed that I can work with. And, it shouldn't be too hard of a task. We got plenty of wood around. And we got a ton of firewood that could also be used to build these boxes. It's just going to take a little bit of ingenuity. And, of course, if he doesn't get to it eventually, I will. And start building my grow boxes. I'm going to have to grow mine in wood because, I don't have money for all of the metal or those kind of things. And I still have a lot of clearing I got to do over here on this side. And I got to fix one of my little sheds here collapsed over the winter. As you can see, we did have a pretty good snow and some ice, and that took it down. That's full of boxes and my four-wheeler and things like that. So we've got a lot of work to do there. But see, my rose bushes are looking so puny. They are having such a hard time. I'm not sure if I'm holding this up right so you guys can see them. But I did put them around the fire pit so that they could get the best sunlight. And our fire pit is not in use every day. We use it mostly for burning our trash and that kind of thing. We burn a lot of boxes because I do order stuff from Amazon. Yes, I shop on Amazon. Although the prices are getting ridiculous. I actually reported a seller who, this time of year, the Great Value Mocha coffee is very difficult to get. And when it's in the stores, of course, I do get some. But sometimes I'll try to find it on Amazon. Now, it's not easy to find on Amazon. It's one of those products that's rarely there. I guess Walmart doesn't have the high production rate of this high demand coffee. But on Amazon, I found a seller who was selling one bag of this coffee for $15.99. Now, I wrote on there and even reported them to Amazon for price gouging. Yes, the product is more in demand and there's a lower quantity. But to go even above uh, Starbucks mocha coffee is ridiculous. Where I'm paying $7 to $8 for Starbucks, their 12-ounce bag, I think, or 12-ounce bag of coffee. They wanted $15 for an 11-ounce bag of Great Value, which is generic brand, and that's price gouging. So I am a stickler about that kind of thing. Where I see it, I will report it. And I've noticed that the seller, is removed their items. I don't know if they got their store shut down for doing it, but I do know that it's a big problem because I should not be paying double for a generic brand when I could buy a name brand a lot cheaper. So I did report that, and I feel like, a grumpy old lady when I do that kind of thing, because I hate to report anything if I don't have to. But I'm not paying $15, $16 for a generic brand of coffee. It's just not going to happen. And Walmart is not the person selling this coffee. It's an independent seller on Amazon. And if you don't watch them, they will rip you off. My little dehydrator, I paid $80 for it. It's nothing major. It's good for doing like dried garlic and dried onions and that kind of thing. Chives, small dry goods. Or, well, small goods you want to dry and preserve. It uses a lot of electricity, and it runs twice as long as my other one had to run. And I think it uses probably twice the electricity. So I've gone to just naturally drying things. Now, I dry a lot of stuff in my pantry, which I keep very dark, nice and cool. I don't have a cellar. And to get a cellar put in here is either I got to get an excavator because, like I said, we have thin soil and a lot of bedrock and good minerals and stuff like that in it, but good healthy topsoil, but it's very thin. And to put in a cellar here, I would either have to dig down and then blast, and I don't want to do anything like that. That creates extra cracking in the rock and the bedrock that I don't want, which could destabilize my own property. And I'm pretty protective of this property. It's the first time I've ever had this much open space to grow. And I mean, the biggest property that we ever rented on was an acre lot, and I did a lot with that. But I'm hoping that this spring I can get me a whole bunch of my mammoth sunflowers. Now these you have to grow outside. I start them in my grow room and then plant them outside once they've matured enough. And they do handle the heat pretty good as long as I keep enough moisture in there. And so far so good. From the last crop, I only grew 3, and they put out these massive heads on them. I mean, they are just massive, and the tallest one I think grew to 14 foot. So if you're thinking about putting mammoth sunflowers in your garden, make sure they have plenty of grow room because they get really, really massive. But the production of them, let's see, it gave me, I think we had counted something like between the 3 plants, I got about 40,000 seeds in total. No, not 40,000, 4,000 seeds. It's just a guesstimate, as they would call it. But I'm really hoping that this next spring, when I put them in, I can get even more. And a lot of the sunflowers that I grew, I traded with my neighbors to get some eggs, and to get, what was it? Oh, a little bit of goat milk. And you'd be surprised, goat milk is delicious. And I know the government's against raw this, raw that. The government's against everything that's actually healthy for you, because your heavily processed milk is not good for you. But your raw milk is. And if you can get it fresh straight from the animal, then you are also getting a lot of enzymes that help you fight off uh, bacterias in your body. Now, when I make my homemade yogurt, which I have not made since I've been here, because I have not had enough milk and dairy products. I don't have any cows. I don't have any animals other than my dog and my cats. Keeps everything pretty busy here. I can still taste the blueberry coffee from last night. And my grapes, my Concord grapes, actually rebounded this year. So I did not harvest any of the grapes. I could have, but grapes, if you harvest them and they're not fully ripened, they don't ripen more once they're off the vine. So this year, I just let them do their business to see if I could get even a decent crop. It was not set up to grow on trellises like a lot of people do theirs. My parents did it in a different way. The spot they picked is actually really good for the grapes. They get plenty of sunshine, but plenty of good insect activity. But I didn't want to harvest them because I could not get a batch that was harvestable all in one snip. So this year I decided I'm going to let them grow, let those die off, let those seeds go back into the ground, let the birds and the other critters have them. And so they did plump out really good. So what I'm doing is, I guess, called bush growing of my grapes, where the plant is more of a bush than, the nice ones you see in Italy and all that. I have what they call ashy soil, not just sandy soil. We have ash trees, and we've cut down a lot of them to reduce some of the pollen that comes off of them and the ash content that comes off of them when it gets windy and goes into our soil. And this ash is actually helpful to the soil, not harmful. But if you get too much, the ash does eventually turn to sand. And depending on your soil, it goes from that to clay. And I do have one section of my yard, I have a pretty heavy section of clay. And clay is not very good for growing in. But if you turn the clay and put you some mulch, and like my chickens are my scraps from my scraps from my kitchen, stuff like my coffee to help control the bugs, eggshells, lettuce, bottoms, and other garden stuff. And I'll put it out in my mulch piles with some wood chips, because that's one thing I got a ton of. And I mix it in with the clay, and I do end up getting a pretty good soil, but it takes a year to sometimes 2 years for it to do that transition. So that's this morning's go at it. My husband will be home soon. I can get my shower and get back into my day, because I have 2 more bags of rice I gotta clean and dry and can. And I have, of course, the 4 or 5 bags left of what's going to be my bird food. Now, I get a lot of hummingbirds around here, and they're not seed eaters, they are pollen eaters. And they love my roses. I have this one tree, we call it Maddie. It was a gift from my sister's daughter when her and I first were here. It was a housewarming gift. And when she left, there was no way to transport it to her. And I wasn't sure she had a place for it to grow. But we had to move it out of the garden area because it was not doing well at all. So we got it transferred into a better area over by my peaches. And it flowers all year, all summer long. It flowers, and it's beautiful. It smells great. Keeps my hummingbirds happy, and also keeps my trees happy. Because I noticed last year we actually got a small production of peaches, which was really nice for considering these trees are less than 2 years old. When I bought them, I wasn't sure that they would be able to grow here because I'm unsure of everything that grows here. I'm still working on learning it. But it's getting better. And right now my dog Jack is looking out in the yard. He's watching for Dad and listening for Daddy's pickup truck to come down the road. He knows those sounds. And so that's where we're at today. So I'm waiting for the hubby, finish my cup of coffee, get my shower. Oh, you know, it's tempting to put off my shower because of what I got to do today. I got to get into that work shed. And I don't shower multiple times a day. Although I wash up every day, I don't shower every day. Because my well uses electricity like everybody else's. And so there's only certain days a week that I do things. And my showers are very quick. So on my laundry days, I usually do my shower. So I get a shower about 3 times a week, and I wash up in between, basin wash. I use my sink and some hot soapy water and clean myself up. And if my hair gets, you know, into a lot of stuff with the woods area that I'm working with, and I got to worry about chickers, then I'm in the shower. I don't care if I've taken a shower that week, a couple showers that week, doesn't matter. But to keep my electric costs affordable, this is how I've learned to manage my home. There is no electricity on in the house except for in my little green room that I showed you in my last video. And that is still, and then the refrigerator, of course, and the fish tank. Fish tank doesn't use that much. The refrigerator doesn't really use that much, but the 3 growing lights and then my little closet starter lights, they raise my electric bill pretty good. So we don't watch a lot of TV. We play around with our technology, like our phones, and I have a little Chromebook. I love that thing. It's limited in its uses, but it sure does give me what I need. And I can't afford to replace it, so I'm not going to let the technology just sit there and go to waste. But trying to get myself motivated to do what I got to do. Hubby will be pulling up in probably 5 minutes or so. He's going to help me get that fish tank out of my workshop so I can actually get around in there and get rid of a bunch of the Christmas ornaments and stuff. We don't do the Christmas decorations anymore. We did do them In Texas, we set up our house, I mean, inside and out. You know, and the electric bill was, of course, $500 to $700 during those months. And definitely can't afford to do. Oh, there's hubby. Do that here because I have other things that I need to keep going. And my hubby is pulling in the driveway, so yeah, you're going to hear this ding ding if it works right. I think my driveway alarm is finally wearing out after 4 years, I think. 4 or 5 years. But you will hear the second one for sure when it comes up the driveway. And those things have actually been quite a lifesaver because they have alerted me at times in the middle of the night that something or someone is in the driveway and I need to get up and check it out. Only one time did I see a vehicle actually pulling in my driveway in the middle of the night. And as soon as they saw lights come on in the house, they backed out of the driveway. I have a security system. I don't know if you can see it. I have a little camera up there, one on the side door and one on the back door. We have more cameras, but I talked my husband out of putting them up because they draw a lot of electricity. And these three work for the functions that I need them to. The back and the side ones get our storage and sheds so I can make sure nobody's messing with our tools or stuff. Okay, I gotta go. I'll talk to you later. American Granny out. I'm out of time on my counter here. And it says it's full, so I'll talk to you all later. Mwah! American Granny. Like, comment, subscribe, and please share. I love having all my new friends. I'll talk to you later. Mwah!